Seemingly little things can have big payoffs. I remember reading a study years ago about a specific retailer. This retailer's clerks, like so many others, would greet customers entering the store with, "May I help you?" Think about that the last time you were so greeted. What did you say? Well, this retailer brought in a consultant who studied this simple script and customer response. Not surprisingly, they learned that most of the time the customer's response was a simple no, a dead end. So this retailer changed the script. They changed their greeting to, "Hello? Have you been here before?" That's a more innocent question that a customer feels compelled to answer. When the customer said yes, the clerk's trained response was, "That's great. Let me tell you about the special opportunities we have for returning customers." If the customer answered that non-invasive inquiry with no, you guessed it, their response was, "That's great. Let me tell you about the special opportunities we have for new customers." Seems like such a small thing, doesn't it? Well, the results were a 16%, yes, 16% increase in revenue. Small changes can generate big results. Years ago, I had the opportunity to address the Giorgio Armani sales force. 200 people in the audience. 30 minutes before showtime, and I observed the worldwide sales manager removing the pads of paper that the hotel had supplied. "Aren't you going to give them something to write on?" I inquired. "No," was the response. "You see these pads, Al?" he said. "You see the cardboard backing on these pads?" he asked as he flexed the clearly cheap cardboard backing. "That's not Armani." Small things matter. Now, I'd like to turn your attention to something closer to home. For decades, I've been preaching the importance of the use of professional attire. You've heard me say it a dozen times. Lose the scrubs. You've heard me rationalize my opinion with a commentary like, "Scrubs speak blood and bodily fluids," or "Scrubs have a negative subconscious connotation." Most of you have listened to me, but some of you, and many of your non-Cleinman indoctrinated peers, have pushed back. "Scrubs," they say, "speak medical. Scrubs make the staff all look the same regardless of differences in physicality." Certainly, COVID-19 mitigation has had an impact on the use of scrubs. Such uniforms are easier to maintain and keep sanitary. Some offices have hired hospital laundry services to ensure that their scrubs are properly sanitized. I can't really object to that, although I maintain my position on the subject. I certainly don't want to buy cool eyewear from someone dressed in scrubs and dirty sneakers. Now that's my opinion. But thanks to the results of a recent Cleinman survey, the facts are in. And they're interesting. It seems that the wearing of scrubs does have an economic impact. Practices in which the optometrists wear scrubs produce $327 per exam. Practices where the optometrists wear lab coats over streetwear average $494 per exam. That's a 51% difference. But what was also very interesting was that when opticians wear branded clothing, practices generate an average of $428 per exam. And for those where the optician wears scrubs, the practices generated only an average of $405 per exam. That's a 5% difference. But interestingly, in those practices where the opticians wear professional clothing, they generated only $371 per patient, a 13% negative variance. Now, as with any survey, interpreting the results are key. Here are my conclusions. Docs who wear white coats are taken more seriously than those who wear scrubs. And patients end up spending more, a lot more. Staff who wear branded clothing seem to relate better to patients than those who wear scrubs or professional attire. Perhaps it's because they're less intimidating, and that relationship turns into more money per patient. The results of this survey, which will soon be published, support my long-standing conclusion that scrubs are bad for business. One can conclude that docs should be wearing lab coats and staff branded clothing. For a $2,500 exam per year practice, the differential translates into $50,000 per year. That certainly buys a lot of nice lab coats and branded clothing. I love data. And the data that helps you understand the impact of decisions is worth its weight in gold. So as I started this message, I finish. It's often the little things that make a huge difference in the success of your enterprise. The words you use to address a patient, the quality of a window sign, even the perfume or cologne you choose. Attention to detail can have a huge payoff.